first of all, break down for us, Rebecca, the sheer scale of jobs that have, in fact, already disappeared in manufacturing, and why potentially the jobs that Donald Trump is promising are maybe a figment of his imagination.
Yeah, so depending on which study you look at, about 88% of the jobs lost to manufacturing since the peak of manufacturing in the 70s has been because of automation. Now, trade has taken a lot of those jobs, which is something that Donald Trump does like to focus on, but robots in factories are doing jobs for a lot cheaper, and you need a lot fewer humans to build the robots to do those jobs, and they're really productive. So in that same time, America has actually become much more productive, and we're the second largest manufacturing producer in the US. I mean, in the world.
David, chime in here, because it's interesting. It has become something in the mental psyche. There's a worry now potentially about jobs and about the future with Ubers and the Airbnbs and the fact that maybe people aren't nearly as necessary as they once were. What are your views on this?
Well, I think Rebecca's on the right topic. This probably is becoming the single most fraught issue in technology, and I do think it's quite connected to our political environment, because even if people haven't actually seen jobs replaced by automation, they sense that it's likely, and with everyone having a smartphone and sensing just how amazing it is, and using Siri or Facebook, Google Home or Amazon's Echo devices, they realize that there's this AI and robotic stuff all around them that has enormous power, and it has had impacts in industry after industry. I mean, I remember the first time I ever rode on the little train at San Francisco Airport, and that was like 10 years ago, and there's no driver there. That's the beginning of something that continues and will continue. The question is how we respond to it, and I think Rebecca's done some interesting thinking and writing about that, but the answers are tough when it comes to how we really should respond as a nation and as a world.
So, Rebecca, if Donald Trump was to respond to this and see perhaps manufacturing isn't the easiest place to start building up jobs numbers, where should he look? Where are the jobs safe? Where's going to be expanding?
So the jobs that are safest, if you think about it, are jobs that robots are really bad at least for now. And those are things that humans are really good at. So that's things like empathy and human connection. And a lot of the fastest growing industries and jobs in the U.S. are things that do involve a lot of that. So things like nursing, home health aides, physical therapists, and those jobs range in what they pay, obviously. But even within the business world, companies are saying that these so-called soft skills or non-cognitive skills are becoming even more important, because as jobs replace some of the stuff we do in the workplace, you still need people to work across teams and work with people. So we need to be focusing on those skills, which President-elect Donald Trump has not mentioned.
David, are the tech giants starting to vocalize this enough? Are we starting to hear about what the utopia could be, the fact that maybe everyone just works a little less hard? What sort of future can they paint that doesn't make everyone more fearful in this age of increased populism and concern, not only here in the United States, but across the Atlantic and throughout Europe?
I think it's hard to come up with a really good, reassuring narrative right now. I think it's possible to say things that are kind of promising, but the real problem is that a lot of the jobs that might be created in this more empathetic human world that Rebecca's talking about, which I do agree with, are not necessarily going to be able to be performed by the people whose jobs are being lost in the factories that are being automated. It's a different kind of person, and those factory workers may not want to be trained for that. And even if they did, we don't really have those training systems in our country very well developed. So I worry about that. But I do think there are some positive signs. We at Techonomy just published an article about a concept called the trusted advisor, which is a new kind of job that one of our writers has suggested will come into existence as more and more information is assembled around us by the Internet of Things, et cetera, and remote advisors may be tapping into the data about us and then tell us how to better live our lives. Could be a new job category entirely.